Your body has spoken, but you weren't listening. You still walk every morning, still remember your to-do list. Everything seems fine, but that could be the last warning. How much longer do you really have? It doesn't seem like a big deal, just that you still take your regular daily walk, still sleep soundly, still remember everything you need to do, and still check your blood pressure periodically as part of your self-care routine. What's remarkable is those very signs are closely tied to preventing stroke, one of the leading reasons many older adults pass away too soon. In today's video, I'll share 7 scientifically backed signs, and if you have them, then congratulations. You are on the path to a long, healthy, and above all, independent life. If you've ever thought, I'm old, so whatever happens, happens, please stick around until the end. Because who knows, you might hold the secrets to a long life you never even knew you had. Let's start today's video with the first sign: stable blood pressure for many consecutive years. Did you know every minute your blood pressure erratically spikes or drops is a minute where the vessels in your brain are slowly being torn apart and you don't even know it? When you're young, blood pressure fluctuating with emotions or activity is considered normal. But after 60, keeping it stable day after day, year after year is no accident. It's the result of an admirable lifestyle. For older adults, especially those who've seen friends or family suffer a stroke, that stability not only means living longer, but living healthier and more self-sufficiently. According to the American Heart Association, ideal blood pressure for older adults should stay below 130/80 mmHg. They stress that long-term stability is the key to preventing stroke, the #1 cause of death for seniors in the United States. When blood pressure is unstable, brain vessels are easily damaged, creating the perfect conditions for blood clots, one of the silent culprits behind sudden strokes. Mr. John, an 89-year-old from Minnesota, still drives, gardens, and reads the paper daily. His secret: waking up on time, eating cleanly, checking his pressure before his medication, and never skipping a doctor's appointment. Because of this, his blood pressure has barely changed in over 20 years. His doctor once said, "We wish every patient had blood pressure as stable as yours." Meanwhile, Mrs. Marlene, just 72, had stopped checking her blood pressure, thinking, "I'm a vegetarian, I should be fine." But one morning she had a splitting headache, felt dizzy, and fainted. At the hospital, she was diagnosed with a stroke from a sudden spike in blood pressure she never knew she had. She needed nearly a year of rehabilitation just to walk normally again. Keeping blood pressure stable isn't about luck. It's the result of patience, proactivity, and genuine self-care. Get a home blood pressure monitor and make it a habit to check every morning, before eating and after resting. Log the numbers daily and bring them to your checkups. Even a small change in that number could be a huge signal from your body. If you maintain stable blood pressure, you're not just avoiding a stroke, you are paving a solid path toward a healthy and fulfilled life at 100. And if you've ever thought, no one in my family has ever had a stroke, so I'm probably safe, then I'm sorry, but that's a dangerous assumption. You think it's just luck that no one in your family has had a stroke. Actually, that might be the only thing protecting you from a morning you never wake up from. When we talk about longevity, people think of diet, exercise, or a positive attitude. But there's a silent factor science has confirmed: your family's medical history, especially with stroke. If you're past 60 and no one in your immediate family has had a stroke, that's not just good fortune. It's a sign you have a major biological advantage for living to 100. A 30-year study from Boston University found that people with no immediate relatives who'd had a stroke have up to a 40% lower risk of developing issues with blood vessels in the brain. Genetics plays a key role in controlling blood pressure, vessel wall strength, and clotting, all directly linked to stroke. Mr. Charles, 85, from Oregon, shared that no one in his family ever had a stroke or related event. Both his parents lived healthily into their 90s. Today, he still walks every morning, plays chess with friends, and needs no blood pressure medicine. His doctor told him, "You inherited a great circulatory system, and you know how to take care of that." On the other hand, Mrs. Agnes, 70, has a mother and sister who both had strokes before 65. Even with a careful diet, she needs medication to lower her blood pressure and has to monitor her brain's vascular function. Once she felt a little faint while carrying groceries. Thankfully, she saw a doctor right away and discovered a narrowed blood vessel, getting treatment just in time. You can't choose the family you were born into, but knowing your family's health history helps you know whether to be more careful or to feel more at ease if you aren't carrying that genetic risk. Take time to learn about the health of your parents and siblings. Has anyone had a stroke, high blood pressure, or heart disease? If not, you have a powerful head start on a long life. If so, you need to be even more proactive with your regular health checks. No family history of stroke doesn't make you invincible, but it's a huge opportunity to live long, stay healthy, and enjoy every day without the worry of a sudden medical crisis. And if you have that genetic advantage, then keeping your body in gentle, regular motion, like a daily morning walk, is the easiest way to turn that advantage into real, tangible health. If you feel dizzy when you walk, don't just brush it off as fatigue. It could be a sign your brain isn't getting enough oxygen, and a stroke is silently creeping closer. For seniors, feeling lightheaded or unsteady while walking is common. Many assume it's just tired legs or being out of shape. But scientifically, the ability to walk steadily without dizziness reflects the seamless teamwork between your heart, brain, and blood vessels. Three core factors for a long life free from stroke. According to the U.S. National Institute on Aging, people over 65 who walk gently every day without dizziness have a 30% lower risk of stroke than those who are sedentary or unsteady. That's because each step bathes your brain in a steady supply of blood, helping to maintain memory, alertness, and balance. Mr. Jerry, 88, from Colorado, has never had a stroke. Every morning he walks for 20 minutes around his block, unhurried, with no one beside him. He says, "I don't need to go far, just steadily, because as long as my legs are strong, I know my brain is healthy." His doctor confirms his vitals have been almost perfectly stable for 10 years. In contrast, Mrs. Lillian, 73, often felt a bit woozy walking from room to room. She dismissed it as low blood pressure and didn't get it checked. Then she fell in her kitchen and was hospitalized with a minor stroke. Doctors then found that blood flow to her brain had long been restricted, but it went undetected. Dizziness while walking should never be ignored. It can be a sign of poor blood flow to the brain, and if you overlook it, the consequences can be sudden and irreversible. Try the 6-minute walk test. Walk around your home for 6 minutes and notice if you feel dizzy, breathless, or unsteady. If you do, see a doctor right away to screen for stroke risk or hidden heart conditions. A body that can walk with a steady gait each day is a quiet but powerful statement that you are stepping away from stroke risk and toward a peaceful, proactive life at 100. And what's amazing is, when your body is healthy enough to walk steadily every day, your brain gets the nourishment it needs to hold on to precious memories, even under the most intense pressure. If you can still remember everything, even when you are panicking, that's more than just a good memory. That's your brain winning the fight against aging and warding off stroke. Everyone gets flustered sometimes, especially when things are rushed or stressful. But if you're over 65 and can still recall phone numbers, a shopping list, or an acquaintance's name, even when you're under pressure, that's not just impressive. It's a sign the memory and reflex centers of your brain are still working well, and you're on the right track to a long life, one that's free from the risk of stroke. Research from Harvard University shows that seniors who maintain a stable memory during stressful events have higher gray matter density in the hippocampus, the brain's memory hub. This means their brains are literally younger than their age, with a better ability to withstand sudden damage like a cerebrovascular event. Edith, 86, from Vermont, is a perfect example. She still knows all her grandkids' birthdays, every medicine she takes, and has never missed an appointment. Her daughter says, even when she lost her phone, instead of panicking, she sat down and retraced her steps. Those reflexes show her brain is still sharp and resilient. In contrast, Daniel, just 70, started forgetting things whenever he was in a hurry. Once, he forgot to turn off the stove during an urgent work call. After this happened a few more times, he saw a doctor and discovered signs of reduced blood flow to his brain. His doctor warned that without early treatment, his stroke risk was very high. Memory doesn't have to decline with age. A decline is only truly concerning when it happens under stress, because that's when the brain's weaknesses are most exposed. Challenge yourself daily. Memorize a list of 5 tasks, then check it at the end of the day, especially on a busy one. If you can still remember them, your brain is holding up strong. A solid memory under pressure not only helps you live more independently, it's a sign you're keeping your brain's vitality intact. And with a brain like that, reaching 100 is no longer a distant fantasy. If you're still with me and finding this helpful, let me know by dropping the number 4 in the comments. And hey, if you haven't already, this is a great time to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss what's next. Your support truly helps us keep making content that matters. And no matter how sharp your memory is, one tiny, seemingly harmless habit can still silently nudge you toward a stroke, and that is salt. Just one extra pinch of salt at every meal, and you could be setting yourself up for a stroke without even realizing it. After 65, our sense of taste often changes. Many people start eating saltier foods because things taste bland and aren't as enjoyable as they used to be. But few realize that this habit of heavy-handed seasoning is quietly damaging their vessel walls, driving up blood pressure, and paving the way for a stroke to strike at any moment. The American Heart Association recommends adults over 60 consume no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium daily. Yet most older Americans consume double that amount, mostly from packaged foods, fast food, and adding extra salt while cooking. The result is a dramatically higher stroke rate among those with a long-term high-salt diet. Raymond, 90, from Maine, Spain, had mild high blood pressure at 70. His doctor told him to cut back on salt. Since then, he cooks his own meals, uses herbs instead of salt, and avoids canned foods. Today, his blood pressure is stable, his mind is clear, and he still drives to the market. He says, "I've lived this long, not because of medicine, but because of less salt." In contrast, Agnes, 74, loves salty fish sauce, aged cheese, and rich savory stews. Despite her family's pleas, she stuck to her old ways. One morning, she felt dizzy and collapsed in her kitchen. Doctors confirmed she had a stroke caused by a blood pressure spike during sleep, a consequence of years of excessive salt intake. A low-salt diet doesn't have to be a bland one. If you learn to season with herbs, lemon juice, or just by gradually using less salt day by day. Starting with your next meal, measure your salt, not with your eyes, but with a spoon. Read food labels carefully, choose fresh foods, and try swapping salt for spices like garlic, onion, pepper, or fresh herbs. Sticking to a low-salt diet is a quiet but powerful way to protect your blood vessels, prevent stroke, and step closer to the 100-year mark with your health and mind intact. And no matter how carefully you eat, if you still wake up multiple times a night, tossing and turning for no reason, your body is still wearing down in ways you can't see. Waking up in the middle of the night could be when your brain is suffering damage without anyone knowing. And a stroke at 3 in the morning is the last thing anyone expects. After 65, sleep often gets shorter and more fragmented. But if you're still getting 6 to 8 hours of deep, uninterrupted sleep each night without waking or having disruptive dreams, that's a sign your body and nervous system are stable. And crucially, that your brain's blood vessels are likely undamaged. According to Stanford University's Sleep Center, older adults who get sufficient deep sleep have up to a 30% lower risk of heart disease and stroke than those with chronic sleep issues. Quality sleep doesn't just help the brain recover, it keeps your blood pressure and heart rate stable all night, which is critical for preventing a major event. Ruth, 87, from New Hampshire, sticks to a 9 p.m. bedtime and a 5 a.m. wake up. No screens, no coffee after 2 p.m. And her bedroom is always cool and quiet. As a result, she never has insomnia, feels alert, and can still bake and help her grandkids with homework. Her doctor calls her sleep a natural defense for her brain. In contrast, Harold, 71, often woke at 2 or 3 a.m. from work stress and a strong tea habit. At first, it was just fatigue. Then he started losing his balance upon waking, and once he fell down the stairs, dazed after a restless night. Tests showed his blood pressure fluctuated wildly at night, an early warning sign of future stroke risk. Good sleep isn't a gift of age. It comes from nurturing and protecting your biological clock every single day. You can start by going to bed at the same time, turning off electronics 30 minutes before, and keeping your bedroom dark, cool, and quiet. A cup of chamomile tea or a few minutes of light meditation can also guide you into a deeper sleep. When you sleep deeply without waking suddenly, it means your heart, brain, and entire body are getting the restoration they need. That's not just a good night's rest. It's another step closer to a long, healthy, stroke-free life. But even if you sleep deeply, eat a low-salt diet, and walk every day, there's one crucial thing you can't skip: regular cardiovascular checkups. One heart checkup can save you from a morning waking up with half your face paralyzed, unable to speak. And that isn't a rare story for people over 65. After 65, many people only see a doctor when there's a problem, waiting until they have a rapid heartbeat, high blood pressure, or lasting fatigue. But in modern medicine, we know dangerous strokes often strike without warning. They start with tiny damage inside the vascular system that can only be found with routine screening. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that seniors who get regular cardiovascular checkups every 6 to 12 months can lower their risk of stroke and heart attack by up to 40%. These checks aren't just for blood pressure. They detect hidden issues like arrhythmia, carotid artery narrowing, or overly thick blood, factors often missed without specific tests. Lawrence, 91, from Ohio, lives by a simple rule: see the heart doctor 3 times a year. Even with no symptoms, he gets regular heart ultrasounds, lipid panels, and ECG monitoring. Because of this, he caught a sign of mild atrial fibrillation early, treated it promptly, and hasn't been hospitalized for heart issues or a stroke since. Meanwhile, Joan, 74, felt tired but blamed it on poor sleep and didn't see a doctor. One morning, half her face was numb and she couldn't speak. Doctors diagnosed a stroke caused by an untested, narrowed carotid artery. If she had gone for routine checks, it could have been prevented. Heart checkups aren't just for people who are sick. They're how healthy people stay that way. If it's been over 6 months since your last heart exam, call your clinic or family doctor today and book a checkup, including blood pressure and ECG, blood work, and if possible, a neck artery ultrasound. Every time you proactively get a checkup, you are proactively pushing back your risk of stroke. And those small steps added up over the years are what build the steady road that will carry you to age 100 with peace and clarity. You might not live to be 100, but if you woke up this morning, remembered what you needed to do, poured your own glass of water, and smiled at the morning light, then you are on the right track. You are actively nurturing your body every day, with every night's sleep, every meal, every small step. And most importantly, you are preventing one of the greatest risks of aging: stroke, naturally, sustainably, and quietly. If this video helped you realize you're still doing great, treat yourself to a peaceful afternoon, a nourishing meal, and a quiet word of praise just for you. And if you have a loved one, a parent, a friend, on their own daily health journey, please share this video with them as a quiet word of encouragement. Because who knows, maybe you or someone you love will be one of the few who gets to smile peacefully at 100 years old. I wish you health every day, and that each year is gentler than the last.